without dielectric and with dielectric, right? Then we went to the concept of combination of capacitors, right? So any doubt from the previous class? Any topic you didn't understand, you want me to repeat? Is there anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, everything is clear, right? Now, so we saw capacitors in series also, right? So I hope that point also was clear. So when do we say the capacitors are connected in series? When?
And the potential difference is different in each, in different parts, and the current is same throughout.
Not current. Here there is no
Charge.
Okay. So for capacitors, the charge across all the capacitors is same and the potential difference is different in such a way that how will the potential difference be? The potential difference across each terminals, the potential difference across each capacitor will be divided in such a way that the sum of all the potentials will be equal to how much? The total potential difference supplied by the battery, right? Similarly, when do we say the capacitors are connected in parallel? That's the next topic, write it down. So when do we say they are connected in parallel, guys? If C1 is the capacitance of the first capacitor and C2 is the capacitance of the second capacitor, and they are connected across a potential source of potential difference V, then if the potential difference across all capacitors is same, but the total charge supplied by the battery, will be equal to how much? Sum of charges on each capacitor. What do I mean by this? In this case, V is same whereas Q is different. So how will Q be? If the charge here is Q1, if the charge here is Q2, then the total charge supplied by the battery is Q, then Q will be equal to Q1 plus Q2. This will be the mathematical condition for the capacitors in parallel. Hope it is clear. Right?
Yes, sir.
Q will be equal to Q1 plus Q2, right? But what is the value of Q? Q is equal to CV. So Q is equal to CV, right? So the charge across the first capacitor Q1 will be equal to C1 into how much is it going to be? V. Similarly, Q2 is how much? Q2 will be C2 into V. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Right. Now, how do we draw the effective capacitor? So effective capacitor is the one which replaces both these capacitors and does the same work. So if I call this as C equivalent, then the total charge supplied by the battery, if I call it as Q, then Q will be equal to how much? C equivalent into V. Accepted? So Q is equal to C equivalent into V. Let this be second equation. So from first, second and third, can I say C equivalent into V is equal to C1V plus C2V? So V will get cancelled. What do you get? From this I can conclude that C equivalent is equal to C1 plus C2. If N capacitors are connected in parallel, what will happen? Then C equivalent in parallel connection will be C1 plus C2 plus so on till Cn. So this is an important point you need to make a note of. Okay. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, write it down. Now we'll do a problem based on this concept. Shall we proceed? Listen. So look at the way the problems will be asked. For example, you take the example 2.9 itself. So read the question. There is a network of 4 capacitors of how much value? 10 microfarad, which are connected to a 500 volt supply as shown in the figure 2.29. Determine the equivalent capacitance of the capacitor. Determine the equivalent capacitance of the network. Second, the charge on each capacitor. Okay, here the point that I have given is when they say charge, the charge on each capacitor means what is the value of the charge present on the higher potential. That is what is needed. Okay, so how do we do this? So all capacitors, one point to be noted here, all capacitors are of how much value? They are of equal capacitance of how much value?
10
10
microfarad.
10 microfarad, right? So you guys already know the formulae for the capacitors in series and capacitors in parallel, right? So here our work is to find which capacitors are in series and which are in parallel. So let's try to find it out. No? Which are in series?
So C1, C2, and C3 are in series.
How did you find they are in series?
Sir?
How did you find they are in series?
Sir, I think the negative is connected to the positive in these
Okay,
things.
that is a way. That is also right. That is one way of finding. See, I will just give you a simple trick. Okay, have this in your mind. This trick you learn in next chapter only, but you can apply it to this concept also. But do it as a rough work. Okay, don't show it as a fair work because there's a trick which I'm giving you only for understanding and finding out in this chapter. Okay, this is not an upload rule, so don't use it in a fair work. Use it as a rough work only. See, this 500 volt means there is a battery of how much volt that is connected. 500 volt is connected across the whole network. When they say network, no, it is a combination of resistors or capacitor, whatever passive elements you have. Okay. So generally current flows from which potential to which potential? You guys know this already. Current flows from
Higher to lower.
higher to lower potential, similar to temperature. No. So this is higher potential, positive, negative. So if I take the current here, okay. So this is at positive terminal, this is at negative terminal. If I take the current is going to point B, right? The current is going to point B. At point B, what is happening? Is there any division of current taking place?
No.
Okay, I'll put it like this. I'll make it even more simple. Try to understand. Let's say the current supplied by the battery, the total current supplied by the battery is I. Okay. This point, what you're able to see is called as a junction. If you have heard about it, well and good. If not, don't worry. Junction is a point where two wires are meeting. Okay. So from this junction, are you able to see that there is a division? There are two capacitors going like this. One is in this way, one is in this way. So what will happen is the total current supplied by the battery will be split. If I call this as I1, then this will be I minus I1. Why it is so, all these things you will learn it in the next chapter. Again, as I told you, here with respect to capacitors, there is no concept of current. If you want to make a note, please make a note. Capacitors do not allow current to flow through them. They will only store charge. Okay. All these reasons you will learn it later. Right. So I1 is there. If it goes to junction B, from junction B, is there any division of capacitors taking place? So this current, I1, what will happen to it? It will directly take a turn towards the second capacitor, C2. So same I1 is going to flow. The same I1 is going to flow towards a point C. So the current which is going to point C will directly flow to C3 also. So it is the same current I1. Guys, are you able to understand? So what you're supposed to do is you need to take the rough work is from the battery, take the total current to be I. Wherever the junction is there, if the capacitors are there across the junction, then divide the current. If there is no capacitor or no junction, then take the same current into the loop. Okay, I1, then here what will happen? Here it is I minus I1, and here it is I1, no. So they both are towards the junction, they will get added. So the same current I will come out. Are you able to understand? Somebody messaged, wait. Which point should I repeat? The tricks are fine. Division of charges, yes. So what I'm saying, take the total current to be I. Wherever junction is there, okay, at that junction, if there is a division of capacitors taking place, then divide the value of current. Okay, so that is here the current is I1. Here the total current I minus I1 will go to the other capacitor. Okay, then at this point the same current I1 is going to flow, and at this point the same current I1 is going to flow. Again they will come to this point D. If you observe at point D what is happening, to the point D there are two capacitors connected like this. One is the vertical one is C3, the horizontal one is C4, right? So there are two capacitors. Across C4 there is a current of I minus I1. Across C3 there is a current of I1. These two currents will get added and the total current I will come back. Okay, so this is the trick. From here what we are supposed to understand is, if the current is same through all the capacitors, if there is no division of current taking place across all the capacitors, then they are said to be connected in series. You might think why I'm telling here, because this problem is simple, no issue. If at all you have a tougher problem where they will confuse you, at that point you will get stuck. Okay, this trick will help you, trust me. Okay, so are you guys able to understand? So which capacitors are in series? C1, C2 and C3 are in series, and the whole combination is in parallel with C4. Is everyone clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so this law is called as Kirchhoff's current law, which you will learn it in next chapter. Okay, so since C1, C2 and C3 are in series, what will be the equivalent capacitance for series? How do you find it? 1 by CS will be equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. So 1 by CS is equal to, what is the value of 1 by C1? It is 1 by 10 plus 1 by 10 plus 1 by 10. So how much is it? It is 3 by 10 microfarad. So what is the value of CS, guys? CS will
10 by
be 10 by 3 microfarad. Okay, so please make a note till this point. Now comes an important question. I can replace those three capacitors with one capacitor called as CS. That is the effective capacitance. And here there is C4. Okay, then how is the CS and C4 connected across each other? They both are in
parallel.
Parallel connection.
parallel. So CP will be equal to how much? Can I write it as CS plus C4? Here generally I use S for series and P for parallel. Okay, CS plus C4. CS is how much? 10 by 3 microfarad plus C4 is how much? 10 microfarad. So how much will be the answer? It is 40 divided by 3 microfarad. Means instead of those four capacitors C1, C2, C3, C4 in this network, I can replace it with a capacitance of 40 by 3 microfarad. Okay, 40 by 3 is 13.33 something. Okay, is that all they're asking in the question? What is the other important point? What is the other important point, guys? They're asking. You need to find the charge on each capacitor. That is another work we need to do. Listen. So I will take this whole network. I'll copy this. Now, who can tell me how to find the charges? How do we find the charge? So what is the formula for charge on a capacitor? Q is equal to, the only formula that we have is Q is equal to C into V. Okay. So one important point. Okay. When you have Q is equal to CV, no, that C stands for, so the Q stands for the charge on a particular capacitor. Okay. Charge on a particular capacitor. C represents the capacitance of that capacitor. And what does V represent? Does V represent the total voltage or the potential drop across that resistor, capacitor?
V is total, right?
V. That is where we do mistake. Most of them do this mistake. What they will do, I'll tell you. They will write Q1, that is the charge on the first capacitor. If I call it as Q1, they will write it as C1 into V. What is the value of C1? 10 microfarad into, what is the value of V that they will write? 500. Is this right? Is this right?
No, sir.
Why?
So
It
for
is on the potential drop of a particular capacitor.
It is a potential drop of a particular capacitor. This is a very common mistake. Okay. So how do I find the potential drop across all the capacitors? That's where we need to start thinking from the definitions of resistors in series and parallel. Okay. Listen to this carefully. Okay. So what is happening? C1, C2, and C3 are in series. So since C1, C2, and C3 are in series, what can you say about the charge across them? The charge,
it will be the same across C1, C2, and
yes,
C3.
the charge across all capacitors will be same. Okay. But what is going to get divided?
Potential difference.
Potential is going to get divided. This is a known point, right? But across C4, okay, there is a fourth capacitor. How is C4 connected across the battery? C4 is connected across the battery in this way, right? So what can I say about the potential drop across C4?
Across C4, I think it will be 500 itself, right?
It is 500 because it is directly connected. I'll explain you the logic for this also. Listen to this, okay? So whenever you say 500 volt, I think I have explained this concept already. I explained this with respect to a battery. So 500 volt is what? Is it the potential or potential difference?
Potential.
Potential difference.
It is the potential difference between the terminals of the battery, correct? So this point is at a higher potential. If I take it as plus 500 volt, then this point will be at a lower potential of how much value? 0 volt, such that the potential difference between these 2 points is going to give us 500 volt. I hope you guys remember this, right? Now listen to this carefully, okay? Now listen to this carefully. If I observe, I have a point here. I'm using red color C. I have a point here and I have another point A. If I call this point as P, what is the connecting medium between A and P? What is the connecting medium between A and P? It is a wire, right? Remember this point. Whenever 2 points are connected with the help of a wire, both those points will have the same potential. Write it down. If 2 points are connected with the help of a wire without any capacitor in between them, if 2 points are connected with the help of a wire without any capacitor in between them, then both the points are said to be on the both the points are said to be at the same potential. So what do I mean by that? If point P is at plus 500 volt, point A will also be at 500 volt. if point D is at 0 volt, sorry, point Q is at 0 volt, point D will also be at 0 volt. Then what is the potential drop across AD, guys?
500.
Then what is the potential drop across AD? It is 500, right? We are able to understand. So the potential drop across the capacitor C4 is 500 volt. Is that clear? So now see what is going to happen. Okay, listen. Now what is going to be the charge on capacitor C4? What is going to be the value of Q4? Can I write Q4 is equal to, sir, why is it 0 in Q? I've explained this already. 0 because if one point is at 500 volt, other point has to be 0. So that the potential difference between them is 500 minus 0. Okay, so Q4 is equal to how much? It is C4 into V4. Correct? What is the value of C4? Ra?
It's V.
It is 10 microfarad. Into what is the value of V4? It is 500 volt. So 10 into 10 power minus 6 into 500. How much is the answer? 5000 into 10 power minus 6. That is 5 into 10 power minus 3. 5 into 10 power minus 3 coulomb. Okay, that is the total, that is the charge across Q4. Does that make sense? Right. Now,
Yes, sir.
since Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q3, can I write Q1 plus Q4 is equal to the total charge supplied by the battery? Is equal to the total charge supplied by the battery. Are you guys able to understand? Why did I write Q1 plus Q4? Why didn't I take Q2 and Q3?
So that's where the charge is divided.
That's where the charges are,
Divided. They're connected in parallel.
they're connected in series. That's where the charges are getting divided. It is Q1 plus Q4 is equal to, no, it is not. Shouldn't you write is Q net, sir? No, Q net will not come because the charge across all the three capacitors will be the same. So whatever is the total charge supplied by the battery, one part will go to C4 and the remaining part will go to C1, C2 and C3, which are of same value. That is the reason I wrote it. So Q1 plus Q4 is equal to the total charge supplied by the battery. Now tell me, what is the total charge supplied by battery?
Q1
Total,
plus Q.
is it not C effective into V? The total charge supplied by the battery is C effective into V. What is the value of C effective, guys? (40 by 3 into 10 power minus 6 into what is the value of V? 500. Right. So how much is the value? 20,000 divided by 3 into 10 power minus 6. That is going to be 20 by 3 coulomb. Clear, Ada? So this is the value of total charge supplied by the battery. So Q1 plus Q4 is equal to 20 by 3. What is the value of Q4 that we have got? 5 into 10 power minus 3 is equal to 20 by 3 into 10 power minus 3. Okay. So Q1 will be equal to how much? 15 divided by 3 into 10 power minus 3 coulomb. So that is the charge across each capacitor. How did I take C effective? That's how we calculated, no? It is here, no? 40 by 3. Is there any doubt, guys? See, I tried to explain it conceptually, but if you feel this is anywhere tough, you let me know. I will tell you another method also. Is everyone clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Can you say other method means you have to directly take it like this? See. Is everyone copying it?
Sir, could you go up? Still
Yeah, I'll go up. Just a minute. Copy it first. Is this enough, Rohan?
Yes, sir, you can go down. Sir, I think it should be 5 by 3, sir.
It's 5 by 3. Sorry. Yeah, it is 5 by 3. Just 5 by 3. Okay. So the other method is, see, this is the value of CS. You guys remember this? What is the value of CS that we got? Can someone tell me? We have already derived it. So what is the value of CS that we got? Is it not 10 by 3 microfarad?
Yes, sir.
It is 10 by 3 microfarad. C4 is how much? It is 10 microfarad. Huh? It is 10 microfarad. So all these are connected across a potential source of 500 volt. Accepted. Now, how is CS and C4? They are in parallel. Since CS and C4 are in parallel, what can I say? Potential difference across CS and C4 is how much? You guys tell me. Is how much? It's 500 volt. Okay. So what is the charge across QS? So charge across QS is how much? It is CS into the potential drop across that series. So what is the value of CS da?
10 by 3 microfarad.
10 by 3 into 10 power minus 6 into what is the potential difference? Is it not 500? So it is 5000 divided by 3 into 10 power minus 6. That is 5 into 10 power minus 3 by 3 coulomb. Okay. Then what is the value of Q4? Q4 is equal to C4 into V4. C4 is 10 into 10 power minus 6 into V4 is how much? V4 is 500. So how much will you get? 5000 into 10 power minus 6 or 5 into 10 power minus 3 coulomb. If you observe, both the answers will match. The previous method and this method will match. Whichever is easy for you guys, you can take it. Okay, there is an alternate method. In the previous case, I tried to go with concept. Here also, though I did the same, but I tried to do it in a slightly simpler way. I hope it is clear for everyone. Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we need a little more practice on these kind of problems. We'll do one last problem based on the same concept. What is the time? 6:30. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll teach the last concept. That is the energy stored in a capacitor. Then we will go to the problems. So write down the heading as energy stored in a capacitor. right? See, if I take the parallel plates of a capacitor and connect it across the power source, what do you think will happen? Let's say I'm connecting it across a power source of say like 500 volt itself, okay? And the capacitance here is 10 microfarad. So what will happen? The charges will go and get deposited on the plates as positive and negative values of equal magnitude, right? Here if the charge is Q, here also the charge will be Q only. You guys are able to understand this. Now I have an important question. The charges on these plates, is it going to be an instantaneous process or is it going to have a growth phase? Growth phase in the sense, let's say the maximum charge the capacitors can hold is, let's say 5 into 10 power minus 3 coulomb itself, like the previous case. Is the total charge on the capacitor going to be 5 into 10 power minus 3 coulomb instantaneously, or it will take some time to reach this value?
It takes some time, sir.
It will take some time, right? And the time that it takes, okay, the process which the capacitor undergoes is called as the charging of a capacitor. Are you able to understand? Right? The duration where it's similar to your mobile phone only. Like you connect your mobile phone to a charger, what happens within it? What happens within it? It takes time, no? Not like you're going to get 100% charge in your mobile instantaneously, right? It takes some time. Similar is the case here also. So what is going to happen is, so by this kind of a process that is going to happen, there will be some work that is being done on the plates, okay? And the work which you do on the plates of the capacitor will get stored in the form of potential energy. Okay, that energy we call it as electrostatic potential energy. Guys, are you able to understand? So here when I say the energy stored in the capacitor, I'm trying to speak about what energy? I'm trying to speak about the electrostatic potential energy. So we have heard this word already. Where did we hear this word electrostatic potential energy? When a dipole is placed in uniform electric field, you remember that minus P cos theta, right?
Yes.
So that is also electrostatic potential energy only. Here also it is electrostatic potential energy, but the context is different because here we are talking about the electrostatic potential energy within the capacitor. Okay, let's see how to approach this. So I'm going to do it like this. At any instant t, let's say the charge on the plates of the capacitor are, or I'll say charge on the plates of the capacitor is Q. So what do I mean by Q? Here it is Q, here it is Q. Okay. After some time dt, let's say the extra charge getting deposited is dq. Are you able to understand this? It is dq. Okay, how much time it is happening in the extra time dt, that is after time t plus dt. Okay, now work done during the process of dq getting deposited on plates is how much? Work done during the process of dq getting deposited on plates is given like this. See, we know the formula V is equal to W divided by Q. I'm going to use this again and again. So W is going to be how much? Q into V. So can I write dW is equal to V into dQ? Guys, are you able to understand this point? This is an important step. dW, that is a small amount of work done to deposit this dQ, is given as dQ multiplied with the potential difference across which the device is connected. So let's say the device is connected across a potential difference V. Are you able to understand this? So dW is equal to V into dQ. Let this be first step. But we know that what is the relation between V, Q and C? But we know that Q is equal to C multiplied with V. Accepted? Which implies V can be written as Q divided by C. Let this be equation number 2. Okay, now comes an important question. Using 2 in 1, what do we get? dW will be equal to, what is the value of V? It is Q divided by C into dQ. Guys, let me know if there is any doubt.
No doubt, sir.
Then it's good. So Q divided by C into dQ, which implies W is equal to, can I write it as integral of Q into dQ divided by C? So this will be 1 divided by C into integral of Q into dQ. Now the question is, for you to calculate the total work done, what is the variable here? The variable is charge. So how much was the initial charge present on the device? Initial charge in the sense, before the battery was connected, the charge on the device was 0. And let's say the maximum charge it can store is capital Q. So the lower limit is 0 and the upper limit is Q. So this amount of work is being done to store the charge on the plates of the capacitor. So W is equal to 1 by C into, what is the integral of Q dQ, guys?
Q square by 2.
Very good. Q square by 2 between 0 to capital Q. So 1 divided by C into upper limit in the place of Q, that is Q square by 2 minus the lower limit, that is 0 square divided by 2. So answer will be Q square divided by 2C. If anyone is having problem with integration, I think I've already explained this, right? Integral of x power n into dx is equal to x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So Q square divided by 2C, this is the amount of work that is done. And this work is what is going to get stored in the form of electrostatic potential energy. So U across the plates of a capacitor is given as Q square divided by 2C. Or this can also be written like this. What is the formula for capital Q? Can I write capital Q is equal to C into V divided by 2C? Since Q is equal to CV. So what will you get? C square V square divided by 2C. It is going to be half CV square. There's another formula. What is the other way in which you can write? You can write C is equal to Q divided by V. So when U is equal to Q square divided by 2C, in the place of C, I will substitute Q divided by V. So Q square divided by 2 into Q divided by V. Q and Q will get cancelled. You will get half into Q into V. So what are the three formulae, guys? U is equal to 1 by Q square divided by 2C. Or this is equal to half CV square, or this is also equal to QV divided by 2. Okay, so these are all the values of energy across the parallel plate capacitor. Okay, please make a note of all these points. I'll do a problem based on this. Clear, guys? Shall we do a
Yes,
problem
sir.
based on this? Good. We'll do a problem based on this concept. Oh, sorry, there is another concept also called as energy density. A last point. So write down energy density of a parallel plate capacitor. Okay. Generally, energy density is given by a Boole-Duke, something like this. Okay. So what is the formula for, what is the definition of energy density, guys? We know what is density. So we have seen different types of densities till now. We have seen what is linear charge density, what is surface charge density, what is volume density, like this we have, right? Then what do you mean by energy density? It is the amount of energy stored per, what should I write? It is the amount of energy stored per unit volume. The amount of energy stored across the ends of a capacitor divided by the total volume across which the capacitor is present is what we call it as energy density. Okay. So what is the value of energy density, guys? It is half. Can I write it as CV square? Half CV square. I'm using this formula. This is the most commonly used one, half CV square. Okay. Half CV square divided by what is the volume of the capacitor? See, a capacitor will be like this. You have a plate here, you have a plate here. Both these have area of cross section to be A, and the distance of separation between them is D. So what is going to be the volume? What is the volume? If you know area, if you know
A into
thickness,
D.
very good. Then the volume is given as A into D. Accepted. So let this be equation number 1. Now tell me all the values, guys. What is the value of C? C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D. Again, this is only for a parallel plate capacitor. V is equal to E into D. I hope this point has got registered in your mind. This comes from the concept of potential gradient. Right? By calling this as 2, I will take 2 and substitute it in 1. So this will be half into, in the place of C, I can write it as epsilon naught A divided by D into, in the place of V, I can write it as E into D, the whole square, the whole divided by A into D. I hope there is no doubt. Okay. So A and A will get cancelled. Okay. Epsilon naught into E square into D square divided by this D multiplied with this D is going to be D square, and there is a 2 in the denominator. So D square and D square will get cancelled. Half epsilon naught E square is the value of the energy density for a capacitor. For which capacitor? Generally, this will come for all the capacitors, but here we derived it using the capacitor, parallel plate capacitors. Okay, this is also called as electrostatic energy density. You will be learning about this in the 8th chapter also. This is the most ignored formula, but this is very important, guys, for you to understand physics better. Okay, I'm not talking from exam point of view. If you have to understand other chapters, you need to know what is energy density. Am I clear? Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very good. Shall I proceed then? I hope you guys have copied it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we do a problem, guys? Listen. So if you have textbook, look at it. There is an example 2.10. There is a 900 picofarad. P stands for pico. Pico means 10 power minus 12. Okay. A 900 picofarad capacitor is charged by a 100-volt battery. How much electrostatic energy is stored by the capacitor? Let's do this part alone first. So there is a 900 picofarad capacitor which is charged using a 100-volt battery. So for case A, they're asking what is the energy stored. So what is given in the question? C is given 900 into 10 power minus 12 farad, and V is how much? 100 volt. So what is the formula for energy now? Just now we saw energy is equal to half CV square. So half into C is how much? 900 into 10 power minus 12 into V square order 100 square. So it is going to be 450 into 10 power minus 12 into 10 power 4. So rather 450 into 10 power minus 2, or I can write it as 45 into 10 power minus 7 joules. Energy is measured in joule. Did I make any mistake? Correct only. 45 into 10 power minus 7, or they wrote it as 4.5 into 10 power minus 6. Both are same. I hope this is clear. This is a simple part. Okay, don't look at the solution. They found the charge and then they use the formula QE divided by 2, but you can still use half CV square. No harm in that. Okay. Again, it is something similar to the way we found charge across the capacitor. Half CV square is applied only for that particular capacitor and the potential drop across that capacitor. Okay, V doesn't stand for the total potential difference. Don't make that mistake again. I hope it is clear. Second part is very important. Please make a note of this. So the capacitor is disconnected from the battery. Okay, which capacitor? This 900 picofarad capacitor is disconnected from the battery, and what did they do? And it is connected to another 900 picofarad capacitor. Now they are asking what is the electrostatic energy stored by the system. When they say system, what are they trying to say? It is both those 900 picofarad capacitors put together. What is the energy across the first capacitor and what is the energy across the second capacitor? Add them together, that will give you the answer for energy of the system. Am I clear? Now comes an important point, guys. Here there is an important point you need to understand. Okay, I have to explain a little bit of theory. Rather, I have to ask some questions. Okay. Now, who can explain what is the physics behind this? We need to understand that in the first place. So what did they do? They initially charged the 900 picofarad capacitor, accepted. By doing it, what is going to happen? The maximum capacity of charge that the 900 picofarad can hold will be stored in it, accepted. So what is the value of charge that will get stored in that 900 picofarad capacitor? Q is equal to C into V. What is the value of C? 900 into 10 power minus 12 into V is 100. So how much is it? Is it not 9 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb? Correct? I hope this point is clear. Now what did they do? They took this capacitor and connected it across another uncharged capacitor of how much value? Of the same 900 picofarad. Okay, this is also accepted. Right? Now comes an important question. So initially, what is the charge present across the second 900 picofarad capacitor?
It is 0, sir.
It is 0, right? Since the charge is 0, can I conclude that the potential difference is also 0? Correct, Ada? So because Q is equal to C into V, charge is 0, potential difference is 0. Logically, right? Right. Now, this is at a higher potential, this is at a lower potential. Let's say it is like this. Okay. The first capacitors, positive and negative terminal, are connected across the uncharged capacitor of 900 picofarad. What is 0? 0 is the potential difference. Okay. Now, what do you think will happen to the total charge of this much value? And do you think that is going to get distributed across the second capacitor as well? Do you think it is going to get distributed? Guys, only if you answer, I will understand how you're thinking. I'm not concerned about right or wrong. Did you understand my question first of all? I'm saying,
Could you repeat?
there is, see, initially what happened, there is a total charge of 9 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb. Why is it 0? Which is 0, da? Because it is uncharged. Mithun, the capacitor is uncharged. The second one is uncharged. That's what they told in the question. Read it carefully. Okay. Rohan, listen. This 9 into 10 power minus 8 is the total charge stored when one capacitor was connected across one battery. Okay. Now that battery, the charged capacitor is removed. So what will the charged capacitor will have? Okay, it will have the total charge which it has acquired from the battery. Correct? Now,
Yes,
this
sir.
device, this charged capacitor itself is going to behave like a battery. Behave like a battery with respect to whom? With respect to this uncharged capacitor. Now, what will the charge? How will the charge on the initial capacitor, that is capacitor number 1, get distributed across 2 is what is my question. First question, is there going to be a redistribution taking place? Second question, if yes, there is a redistribution taking place, when is it going to stop? Two basic questions which we need to answer, for which I am asking you people to think and tell me.
So
Nikhilesh?
there will be redistribution, sir. It will
Okay.
be that there will be redistribution. It will take
Okay.
place until probably both are equal. They have
Both
an
are
equal amount.
equal amount of dash. What is the dash? Equal amount of what?
Equal amount of charge or capacity.
That is where we make mistake. Okay. I'll tell you one of the misguiding factors here. In the diagram, they have given Q by 2, Q by 2. You're thinking that the charge redistribution will take place till the charge on both the capacitors are same. No, please make a note of this point. Whenever a charged and uncharged capacitor are connected, write it down. Whenever a charged and uncharged capacitor are connected with the help of a wire, okay, it is not a wireless connection, it is a wired connection. With the help of a wire, redistribution of charge will take place. Please write it down. Redistribution of charge will take place, underline this point, till the potential difference of both the capacitors is the same. Till the potential difference across both the capacitors is how much? Is same. Pridam,
So until V is equal in both cases, sir.
V is equal. V should be equal, not the charge.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Means if I say the initial potential of this first capacitor is V1, what is the capacitance of second capacitor?
Should also be V1.
It is initially it is 0.
V1 by 2, sir.
Initially it is 0. When will it stop? Charge redistribution will stop. Charge redistribution will stop when the average of both the potentials is obtained. Why I told both the potentials obtained is because this has to lose and this has to gain. So average of both is how much? V1 plus
V1
0
by 2.
divided by 8. That is why it is V1 by 2, like how Mithun told. That is the reason why it is V1 by 2. Okay. Fortunately, in this question, what is going to happen is the capacitance of both the capacitors is same, and the potential difference is also only dependent on one parameter. The charge here will be Q by 2, and here also it will be Q by 2. To put it in simple terms, out of this 9 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb, 4.5 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb will reside with the first capacitor, and the remaining 4.5 would have gone to the second capacitor. You're able to understand? That is how a battery also works. Battery is also able to charge the capacitor fully till the potential difference is same of both. Okay, so 9 into 10. You're able to understand 4.5 and 4.5 will be the value. So energy across the first capacitor will be how much now? Half into C1 into V1 square. Correct? So half into, what is the value of C1? 900 into 10 power minus 12 because 900 picofarad into what is the potential difference of the first, or else we can do one thing now. Since we don't know the potential difference, we can do half into I can write q square by 2c. That is q square by 2c is the formula I'm using. So what is the value of q square? 4.5 into 10 power minus 8 square divided by 2 into the capacitance is 900 into 10 power minus 12. Similarly, what is going to be the potential difference across the second capacitor? It is q square by 2c only. I will say q1 square by 2c1, q2 square by 2c2. What is the charge across the second capacitor now? It is 4.5. Yes, yes. Divided by 2 into 900 into 10 power minus 12. Right? You calculate both. Now the total energy of system is how much? U1 plus U2. Whatever value you are getting, add both. That will give you the required answer. Clear? So that is the total energy of the system. This is all about the energy redistribution. Okay. So I need to explain. That's all with this chapter. Okay. This chapter is actually over. I told you there is only one concept that is left out, which is not there in the textbook. Sir, is V? No, V is not 4.5. Right? It is Q. V is not known. Actually, V should be 50 and 50. Why V should be 50 and 50? Can someone tell me? Because initially, what was the charge? What was the potential difference connected? It was 100 volt. So out of 100 volt, 50 volt should remain here and 50 volt should remain here. If you want, you can use this formula and also see half CV square and half CV square. Still, you will get the same answer. Add both. That will be the same. But you said potential charge is till average of potential. I told Ra, but what I'm saying is the charge is known. No. Charge on both the capacitors is known. It is Q by 2, Q by 2. That is what I insist upon. So there are three formulae to be used. What is the potential difference? Potential difference is 100 volt. Correct? Then 50 volt should be here, 50 volt should be here. How will 4.5 into 10 power minus 8 come? Guys, are you able to understand or not? No response at all.
Understood, sir.
Good.
So in such cases, charge and potential will be halved, right, sir? It will be an average.
In this case, it happened because both the capacitors were of same value. If not, how to handle, I will explain you later. There is a problem in the textbook itself. I will do that and show.
Okay, given in the question, it's of the same value, sir.
In this question, it is same value. What if one capacitor was of 900 picofarad and the other was of 450 picofarad? Then it would have not been Q by 2 and Q by 2. One would have had more charge, one would have had less charge. How to calculate that I will explain later.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I need a class to do problems also. Okay. So actually this chapter is over, but I told you there is one concept which is not given in the textbook, which I'm going to explain, that I will do it later. And Van de Graaff generator is not there. It's not there in the syllabus. You need not read this. Okay. So that's all from my side for today. I'll inform about the compensation class by today. Sir, summer vacation will start from this week itself. We'll close it, don't worry, when I need a break. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.